This is Business Women Australia podcast, featuring industry leaders who bring their wealth of expertise from diverse areas to help you build a successful business. Now, onto the show. And welcome to another episode of Business Women Australia. And it gives me great pleasure to be joining the stage with Lyn Hawkins, who is the Director of Business Women Australia. Today, we're going to dive into lots of area of conversation around BWA's vision and mission. We're talking about BWA's evolution and growth, talking about challenges, opportunities, partnerships, courses, and so much more. Welcome, Lyn.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Always wonderful to be on your show. So thanks for having me.
On your show, on our show. It's a wonderful platform that we usually feature, and we are booking in lots of great premier members to join us on the platform to share their expertise, which is, of course, part of BWA's mission to have this incredible collaboration of experts from around Australia. So we'll be featuring those incoming shows. But we thought, let's have another show where you and I will chat. We're part of the leadership team, obviously, and there's been things that have been happening over the last number of years, exciting things, opportunities, challenges, all of that, which is part of business, isn't it? And we thought it's time that we get back on the show, you back on the show, and talk about some of the exciting plans that BWA has. So let's dive in. Let's talk about BWA's vision and mission. What exciting things have you got with us to share with us today, Lyn?
Well, Anne-Marie, it is an exciting time because over the last couple of years, there have been a few challenges, and I'll talk a little bit more about those later on. But it's really been an incredible opportunity for us to revisit our vision and our mission at Business Women Australia. We grew this vision and the mission with our members right from the word go when we first established as a national collaborative collective. And, what I'm hearing now is that there's a new vision actually emerging. And if I just take us back to what it was originally, we talked about the BWA vision being where everyone is valued and can contribute to the greater good, demonstrating a new way as a number one national collaborative community in Australia with a focus on women in business. Now, if I look at that vision, there are elements of that we still very much are adhering to, that are still very dear to our hearts, looking forward in the future. But there's something more that women are wanting from Business Women Australia as their representation in business and in the community and in the world. So I'm actually looking at getting some brainstorming together with women who are very keen to be a part of the future growth of Business Women Australia, so we can really look at that vision and we can say, what is it now? We are a place, we've achieved that vision. It is a place where everyone is valued, everyone is welcome. It is a place where we are contributing to the greater good. But what does that look like now going forward, in this new world that we're navigating? And we have demonstrated that we are the new way of collaborating. All our program and our courses and our partnerships are co-designed. We hear about this term co-design all the time, and I have a bit of a chuckle because I know that most organisations, particularly we hear government co-design and this and that, they don't really understand the kind of co-design that business women do together. We really roll up our sleeves together. We talk through the things, we chat through the issues, we work things out, we experiment, we project plan, we project implement, and we project review together, everything. So it's a really organic process, hand in hand together and alongside each other. And Business Women Australia is a wonderful example of that. We are demonstrating that true collaboration. In fact, one of the women's networks in Canberra recently said to us, we hear of everyone wanting to collaborate, but we have never really experienced it so enthusiastically and so genuinely as we have from Business Women Australia as a collective. So that is something I think we are doing well. Our vision has become a reality. And we talk about our shared vision historically as achieving that vision by helping each other achieve our goals and our dreams, and building this network of influence and creating opportunities to improve visibility of female business leaders in Australia, and ordinary business women doing their day-to-day work. So, this mission is also needing a review, because even though there's elements of that we will retain, of course, we're always going to be helping each other achieving our goals and our dreams, one by first understanding and being curious about what those goals and dreams are, and really listening and challenging each other to step up. Something that's come out of our time together on this journey since we became a national collective in 2015, 2016. We go back to then. So we've seen a lot of change in the environment, and we've learnt that one of the most important things about a leader, whether they're a leader at their university, whether they're a leader in their community, whether they're a leader in business, whether they're titled as a leader, one of the most important things we've understood is that to lead others, first, we need to understand ourselves and lead ourselves. And there's been a lot of work over the last 2 years that we're all doing on ourselves. I can say myself that I've been through this incredible and challenging and revealing and exciting experience of understanding a lot of the good, the bad, and the wonderful of myself, and the areas where my gifts need to be nurtured. And I can see that's happening with so many others in our community, and it's really exciting. And then there's that other side of that mission, which is the visibility piece. Creating opportunities for women to be seen, to women to be at the table and heard, to be involved in the design of businesses and organisations committed to the greater good, and then really working with others to determine what does that greater good mean to us. What does it mean to us? And as a feminine energy that we can bring to that conversation, I can't talk about that without actually looking at our values. And this is another area which I believe we are really ready to ramp up. Historically, we've talked about our shared values. We talk about them at every meeting that we have. We talk about the inclusion and diversity being important to us, courage, honesty, collaboration, open-mindedness, conscious care, and positive energy and optimism. Now, those were the most important values that we thought needed to be driving the foundation of growing this collective. Are they representative of the values that women want to see in their collective going forward? And that would be, I would love, one of the partnerships that I would love to do is to partner with one of the values-based research organisations that has an online tool that we could really do some research across all our community. We've got 10,000 subscribers that get our e-news every month, and we have a massive open rate. All those subscribers see themselves as belonging to our community. Wouldn't it be amazing to see, well, what are the key and core values that we all share? And I'm sure they've shifted. I know for me, when I first went out into consulting and set up my practice, my values were more around that sort of self-actualization in terms of my career, in terms of building my knowledge and expertise as a thought leader, as an authority. And probably now, as I'm sort of in my mid-50s and looking to the next stages and phases of my life and my time with my beloved Simon and my family, who are all growing up now and forging their own careers, the values that are important and dear to me are sort of a bit different than they were then. So as a company, as an enterprise that's representative of all the women who work in Australia, what is it that these amazing women want us to hold dear to us, to our growth going forward, over the next few years as we go into teenage years. I guess we're no longer, we're no longer the new kids on the block. We're heading into the teenage years. We might want to be a little more adventurous, or we might want to be a little more pushing the boundaries. And I'm getting that a little bit from all these wonderful new women that are joining. They really are probably a lot more outspoken, a lot braver, more courageous than I was at that age. And I'm just so proud that, my generation has at least forged a pathway that's made it safe for this amazing new generation of leaders coming through.
Yeah. I love the way that you've shared that, because it's so true, and it shows this evolution, isn't it? And many of our members have their own businesses, and it really shows that it's important, isn't it, as individuals, but also as a collective. And who are we networking with? Who are we collaborating with? Is our vision still the same, or has it evolved? And evolution happens, doesn't it, as we relate with one another, circumstances that happen around the world. And I think with every challenge, there's also an opportunity, isn't there? It just depends on which way are you looking at that. And one of the things that I have seen and know to be true through my experience with BWA right from the beginning, and you've even said that it has been noticed by external parties, is their willingness and real desire to want to collaborate as that collective. And there's something very unique about that. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times I hear feedback from other women who would love to be part of these collective groups, but because there's a bit of an agenda, and BWA does not have any other agenda other than to create an environment where people can bring, their expertise, who feel valued, who feel safe. And that's so important with all of the things that have been happening in the world. But that's very unique, isn't it? And so many women want to be part of that, I think, and to be supported. Share a little bit more about that, because I think that's a really unique perspective and an area where BWA can sit and has done that really well right from the time that I've ever connected with you, Lyn.
Well, that's so true, Anne-Marie, and it's really hard to articulate that on, in our collateral and on our website. I had some feedback the other day from a gorgeous, clever technology project manager in New South Wales the other day, and she sent me some feedback after she'd had a chat with me about BWA as a community. And she said, looking at our website, it doesn't really reflect this amazing exploration and adventure and co-design that we can offer in the community. And, I thought about that, and I thought, well, part of the problem is that, one, we are not fully resourced to be able to co-design with everybody. Everyone's got great ideas. So there's an element of, working through, how all these millions of ideas we can do to support them and do justice. And that really does then sort of show how, as we're scaling, part of the challenge is to find the right team. I really desperately need a full-time operations and marketing member support manager. We haven't got we don't have one full-time employee. We've got contractors that work with us, and some shareholders that collaborate with us and actually run part of the operations in the back end of the business, and partners that do, their fair share and heavy lifting of things, including you, of course, Anne-Marie, and the amazing work you do with the podcast. But one of the magical things about BWA is that if a member joins and they say, let's do a walk and talk around the domain in Sydney every month. And Joanne Keating, great idea. Okay, what can we do to support her? How can we promote that to Sydney business women so that, there's a handful of amazing women every month walking together and talking? What a great idea. So in it goes into our program. And as long as Joanne wants to keep heading that stays in our program. Or if someone wants to take it over when she's had enough of that, then that becomes an ongoing evolution. It's not something that I sat in the background and said, okay, for this next 12 months, this is our program. Let's roll it out. Let's market it. Let's smash it out and let's review it. It's very organic. And this is the true nature of the Business Women Australia collaboration model. And I often talk about the brand being a great door opener. We had an amazing member in the East Coast who wanted to meet one of the major publishing houses. She'd already been self-published, and she couldn't get through to this guy. He was the director of the Asia Pacific region for, a serious publishing, book publishing company. She said, I can't get anywhere near him. His secretary won't organise a meeting. I really want to understand what I need to do to go from self-publishing to be a published book, and in those distribution outlets, so people can get access to my book. And I said, why don't we use the BWA brand to run a panel event? Let's put you alongside him and maybe get a book coach. And I said, no one really says no to Businesswomen Australia when we ask nicely if they'd be involved in supporting us and helping our members. And lo and behold, we got through without any issues. We had all that date lined up. And quite interestingly, she said to me, about 3 months out from the event date, she said, you're not going to believe this. One of the other publishing companies has seen my book in the local Wagga Wagga bookstore that my mum told me to put my book in there, and they've offered me a publishing contract. And I said, well, let's save this particular event. Let's get you speaking just at that event on your own to all our members and share your story. And but we often have a bit of a chuckle about the power of the BWA brand at opening doors. So if women if they're struggling with whatever it is, no matter what it is, I'm sure we can work something out together.
Yeah. And, that in itself, I think, is real testament to yourself and obviously the leadership and the vision that you've had, because, as many of us have experienced, and I know BWA as well, and that's one of the things, I think, the benefits of having a collective and having women that will often come to you. You hear things that's happening on the ground, and I think there's value in that, because you're then able to tap into the large networks that you've been developing over these years. And it really continues to validate the importance of connection, because you may not necessarily be able to support or give support or share the collective community at that particular time, but you never know down the track that you may know someone who knows someone else who is the solution right then and there. And those are the things that I believe really continue to hold BWA at the fore, because it's just what they do, that's just very much part of that mission. And I think there's some real key core values of BWA that, even if part may evolve, there's some real key values that will always remain part of what BWA stands for. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that that combination of collaboration is at the heart of what we really do, and courage. So, we try out a whole bunch of new things that come out of these ideas of collaborating. Some of those ideas work better than others. Some of them we learn need a lot more hard work than we had anticipated. And some of them we go, well, that was worth a try. This is what we've learned. And it's saved our member having to bear the burden and the cost of that risk. We've shared it together, and, that in itself is great, to have a partner that's going to be have the courage to explore some new ideas together. And I think that I've always said this is a brand where we experiment, we play, we're curious, we have fun, we learn, and we learn by doing, not just by sitting around talking. The talking piece is still very important, and we have had a very, very successful concept of courageous conversations, or conscious conversations, in sort of Chatham House rules, small group settings with a theme that's really quite challenging, and facilitators that are very good at facilitating those kind of safe conversations. And we've found that those things are also important too, is providing opportunities for those deeper, meaningful friendships to occur. And from that, then, there's a lot of collaborations that occur outside the BWA program. So women are meeting each other and doing things together. And And even years down the track, I caught up with some alumni recently, and they said, you wouldn't believe it. They said, we actually met each other through BWA, and we're still doing collaborations together. And to me, that is a sign of the real success of this brand, where women don't have to be a part of the collective. They might be a part of it during a time that they need to be here, or they really want to be here, or they want to give back. And they come and go. They dip in and out of the collective in terms of being a part of the program. But I always say to them, they can check out, but they can never leave, right? Because you're a member of Businesswomen Australia for life, whether you're a financial member or you're a subscriber. Even if you opt out of e-news, I'll still be following you up.
We'll still be there.
Until you say go away.
Yeah. And it's true though, isn't it? I mean, I've met people who online, and we've met before, or I know you some way through some, some other channel, and it's, I'm sure it's Businesswomen Australia. And that's the beautiful thing about having so many chapters around Australia. And even though I know many of us now are starting to do traveling and things like that, which is exciting, even when we were on lockdown, we were still meeting, still doing the online, still connecting, still collaborating. And I think from that is even other opportunities came that may never have eventuated were it not for the need to have to go online. So as you said, there's always opportunities that come out of those challenges if you're looking for them, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, with, 2.5 years ago when we had to bring so much online, we were already doing quite a bit in the digital space, but it really made that part of our enterprise very important. The digital connection, online connection. Now, we ran 80 events in the last 12 months, and a lot of those were online. We've now got online community hubs. The wonderful Kerry Nobes is running our national online community hub, and we've also got community hubs that are more regional or state or local based. And that brings a lot of opportunity in terms of accessibility for women who just can't get out to events. And it's just meant that our reach and our engagement's now going into rural and regional areas, and we're really connecting not just across sectors and professions and states, but right deep into the heartlands of Australia, where women have really felt isolated and are key women in their family businesses and key players in their communities. So we're really excited at how that evolution is rolling out. And we've got some great collaborations planned with organisations that look after women in those spaces as well. And we're really looking forward to actually connecting women across the nation, no matter where they might be. So that is a really, that really excites me, that evolution. It's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Speak a little bit about the ways that people can connect with us, because you've mentioned the e-news, you've mentioned some of the online forums that are run. If people are wanting to get more involved, or perhaps they have not yet dipped their toe, they haven't become part of the community, what are some ways that they can connect with us, Lyn?
Well, the first thing I'd do is suggest they jump on our website and have a look at our calendar of events. Now, on those events, you can scroll through each month and you can have a look through and see what's online, what might be in Perth or Sydney or Melbourne or wherever. If there's nothing in your local area and you want to have some events, even if it's 1 or 2 a year, I'd be very open to, once you've joined, supporting a local or a regional business women discovery, or a roundtable, or a mini event, or whatever it might be. So we're really looking for female leaders to join forces with us and get things happening around there. Also, we have, of course, on the website, you can subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get our e-news and our e-alerts. We're on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. We have a company page on LinkedIn. You can join our LinkedIn group. Our classic and our premium level members can post in the LinkedIn group, and we have a private members group in the Facebook platform as well for our classic and premium level members. We also, of course, have these great courses. We've actually partnered with Fire Up. They're a registered training organisation run by and set up by Kathy McKenzie. in the Sunshine Coast. Amazing. I've just finished and been accredited with my Cert 4 in business and in coaching, in business and personal coaching. And I've started my diploma. I wish I'd done this years ago, because coaching skills as a leader and working in teams is really powerful. And I'm finding that it's having this awesome impact on my ability to be a better mother and a better wife, because instead of solving everyone's problems, I'm more curious and asking lots of questions and helping them come to their own answers. So these are great skills for me, who's a talker. So that there's another intake coming up soon. So if anyone's interested in being an accredited coach, it is a pathway endorsed by the International Coaching Federation. It's a pathway through to that, and that really is the most, it is the professional body, the recognised body for the best coaches in the world to be a part of that pathway. You don't have to go down that line if you don't want to set up your own coaching practice, but certainly doing the Cert 4, I would recommend that for anyone to do. It's just amazing. It's 6 months. It's not too intensive. It's a wonderful course. You get a lot of peer-to-peer coaching in it as well. So it's actually, you're doing a course while getting coaching and practicing your coaching.
Yeah.
And
it's immediate. You can apply the things that you're learning immediately.
And the research, the resources, all the books, everything, it's just amazing. What Kathy and the team put together there, I highly recommend you look into that. We're also, of course, partnered with Jessica Schubert and her team, Intact Teams. Jessica is our head of leadership development at Businesswomen Australia, and she's very invested in this community. And she looks after the APAC region for Disc Flow. So there's a course starting in June. I think they're kicking off early June. There's another one coming up early August. It's basically four modules with a few hours each module, and then some work in between. So it can have your accreditation pretty much done and dusted in the month, and then bring that into your organisation. That's very attractive for people in culture, HR professionals, and coaches who want to refresh their training and bring the disc flow part. The flow part is the emotional intelligence aspect. So there's a lot of disc certified trainers out there, and this is they're looking at that to refresh and bring that extra emotional intelligence piece in. And of course, our business foundations course. So let's talk to you about that, Anne-Marie, because you have been marvelous at developing this course, because it was really something that we found, particularly when we were getting women ready for their podcasts, that they really needed to do, right?
Yeah, it was. And one of the reasons why I created this course, because if I think back to when I started my very first business, a career coaching practice, you got your certification and they give you your certificate, the plaque on the wall, which you're so proud of because it's taken months, many, many months, in fact, sometimes years. And it's like, now, congratulations, you're a business. And it's like, really? Okay, well, how do I get clients? And with, of course, lots of technology that has developed over the years since when I first started, it can become really confusing as to, well, how do I correctly market my business? How do I stand out? And then what happens, I know for a lot of women, or maybe it's just me, we go into the comparison mode. Oh, but they do this so much better and this and that. And then before you know it, a business that you'd started because you really wanted to make a much bigger impact in the lives of your clients becomes almost confusing and a little bit off-putting, if I may say, because there's so many things to navigate through. So I thought there's got to be an easier way, and that was one of the reasons why I put Core Business Foundations, because often what we do is well, I need a podcast, well, I need to write a book, well, I need to do this. Well, one day you may be able to do that, but let's do the foundations first so that you can start to build the momentum that you need. And that was one of the reasons, because how often do we as women, we do compare ourselves to what other people are doing, or we get that imposter syndrome as well. So when we should be standing out boldly and courageously sharing our message, because our message can impact the world, our ideal client, we don't, because of one reason or another. I think we can all relate to that, can't we, Lyn?
Absolutely. Look, I still suffer from that, and I know I've got clients who are managing partners of law firms, and I never forget chatting with one the other, not that long ago, and he was saying, "Don't you think for a minute that it's just women who own that piece?" He said, "There've been times when I've been in a room surrounded by people who are exceptionally clever at what they do, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here?" And I would say he's probably the smartest guy I know. And for him to say that was a real revelation for me. I think it's just a part of being human. So there are some key elements within that Business Foundations course. So what are the main takeaways that now, and how will they find it?
Okay, so if they want to find a little bit more, add a little bit more, there's details. There's a nice, beautiful red button on businesswomenaustralia.com.au website. You can find out them more, or reach out to me. I'm more than happy to have a conversation. But there are 5 different modules, and each of the modules builds on the other one. And it's interesting because I'm just going through someone at the moment, and he's been going, and it's a gentleman. So exactly what you just said, men go through this as well as women. So we can't just have ownership on that how we do imposter syndrome so well. Well, men have it as well. But it's the lucrative niche. And it's not just, often we hear about niching, you've got to find that one thing. But I find that for many of us as coaches, we have got a myriad of modalities that we love learning, different techniques, different tools. We want a toolkit which is vast and wide, but what can make it difficult is, how do I put that together in a message that really cuts through the noise and speaks to my ideal client? And this gentleman that I'm working with, he said it's almost going through that and finding out what is brand with archetypes. That's the second module, the signature brand. He said it's like I've had a wedge underneath my wheels for the last, he said, mostly all of my life. He said, I've been doing lots of different things, and I've got so much knowledge and so much expertise, and I've still felt stuck. And he said it's as if going through the lucrative niche and the signature brand, so he's only just starting, he said it's taken away that wedge, and it's starting to build the momentum that I need. Things are getting a lot more clear. And I think when there's a level of clarity, there comes that inner confidence, because we know that what we're doing and how we're sharing our message is exactly where they need to be. And it's often the uncertainty that can get us stuck, because then the inner chatter starts, doesn't it? What if I should do it this way? Or we get distracted by the next bright, shiny object, which can often happen as well when we don't have that clarity and certainty.
Yeah, that's so true. So for anyone who's listening to this now, or got access to the recording, jump onto the Business Women Australia website. There is that beautiful big button, Business Foundations course. How long and what sort of investment are we looking at? It's not that expensive to do this. It's under
it's under $2,000, and the amount of time it's done, I've done it in such a way that it will be a 90-day program, and it depends obviously on how many hours that you can commit. But what I find though is that as you start to get clear on certain things, the rest of the things just fall into place. And there's also ongoing coaching every week. There's a call button and Zoom button where people can connect with me, so that they're not just left to go through the course on their own. Because I know sometimes you've got a question and it just requires a little bit of chatting through with someone, a coach, to be able to help you kind of get that clarity that you need. And so I'm there to support people right throughout the entire course. But all of the modules are there, and it's all done. There's a success guide which I've created. So each of the modules, if you're wanting to follow a 90-day program, so that by the end of the 90 days, actually it's before that, if you start to implement some of the things that we're teaching, you'll probably start to generate interest with clients already, because of how you're shaping your message. You're getting clear, and you're starting to get that out into the world within that 90 days. But a 90-day program is how it's been developed.
And look, I think it's a great course and very valuable for anyone who's consulting or a specialist. We've got a lot of members that have been in corporate. They've developed these incredible expertise and skills, and then go and set up their own business as a consultant, or as a coach, or as a CEO mentor. And I think that this would be a really great foundation for them to actually really develop their business strategy, their go-to-market strategy. And because a lot of them have come out of areas where they have had no strategy or marketing or entrepreneurship planning skills. You know, a lot of that's been done by the entities in which they've left.
Yes.
You know, I see a lot of women then very vulnerable to what's being thrown at them and marketed to them. And they're, you know, I've actually had some members, I've had to unravel them out of things that they've made commitments to, you know, that are very expensive, you know, and I'm thinking, goodness gracious, and others that have done $20,000 12-month plan and haven't even got a basic business pathway map.
Yes.
You know, let alone an understanding of their niche market and their ideal avatar and how their messaging is going to engage their avatar and to develop the pipeline for business. You know, they've ended up just $20,000 poorer at the end of the year and lost that time. And quite a few have lost their confidence through that as well. So, you know, this is why I was so excited, Anne-Marie, when we brought this on board as a part of the BWA offering, because it really does help women. They don't have to go out searching. This is a really low cost but high value offering. So we really appreciate you. You know, you really have brought your life's skills and your expertise to that so that it is accessible for everybody. Now, saying that, we do know that there will be listeners here who would love to do it, and maybe $2,000 is still, or just under $2,000 is still out of their reach, or they know of someone who they think would benefit, and $2,000 is too much of a gift to spend on them. We're actually going to be launching a scholarship program. So I would love to hear anyone who wants to put their expression of interest forward to be alerted about that program. Otherwise, jump on, subscribe to our e-news and our newsletter, and because we'll be launching the program through there later this year. I'm very excited about offering that because I just think it's such a valuable opportunity for everyone, Anne-Marie.
And, you know, one thing as business owners, many of the people who are part of the BWA collective, we're service-based businesses, which means that we're sharing our expertise. And when you're marketing and promoting yourself as your expertise, it's different than if it was just a product or a service, isn't it? There's so much more personal aspect of that. And I know for some women, the whole topics of selling is something that they don't necessarily feel comfortable with as well. But, you know, with what some of the things that the foundations course is going to support them with, as you start sharing your message, it resonates so much with your ideal client that it almost will sell itself, because people will see the value that you have. We talk about the promise of value and promise of expectation. And as you start to share that in your message, your ideal client will often naturally step forward and ask, you know, I think I need to speak to you more, because I think what you're offering is exactly what I'm looking for. And as we're wrapping up, Tara, I love the successes, hearing the successes from the people that have gone through that. And I recall Kashmira, just recently caught up with her, Lyn. She was someone that went through the course a couple of, a year and a half ago, I think. And what's happened to her, she was already seen as an authority in her field, but when things started to go on lockdown, she, just like you, she was thinking, I need to update my skills. I need to see if I'm still relevant. So she dove in and she did all of the work. And what's happened now is that previously she used to what she calls hustle, you know, all of the marketing that we're told that we need to do about 80% of the time, and 20% of the time she was working with clients. She's completely flipped that around. 10% of the time now she's marketing her business, because it's so streamlined now. She's got incredible content because it's all on point, you know, that one message, one clear offering, to now 90% working with clients. And that's really the kind of businesses that we're wanting to achieve, isn't it? To create, not that we have to, I mean, you and I both love marketing. It's our area of expertise, so we love that. But really for businesses, they don't want to spend all of their time doing all of the stuff. Get your foundations set up rightly, get that clear message that become known as that, you know, category of one. And every single one of us has that when we know what to look for. So you're uncopyable, you're irresistible. and your ideal client will seek you out. That's really what we hope to achieve through the partnership with BWA and the Core Business Foundations. Is what we want, really, isn't it, Lyn, for everyone who goes
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just music to my ears hearing you speak like that. And I just know that there's so many women who really would get value from doing that. So again, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for carving out some time on the BWA podcast show in collaboration with the Ambitious Entrepreneur, the podcast network. Anne-Marie, this has been one of the most successful collabs that we've done. Right from the word go, you were the first one to come on board and support our dream. And, we really are so grateful to have you as a leader in our community. And I can't wait to keep doing more things with you.
I know. That's why I believe in the brand so much. And, of course, Jennifer, who previously was one of the directors and partners to Lyn, when I first spoke to you both, I knew that was something very special about BWA, and it certainly is. And there's so much opportunity, isn't there? Just even with the challenges, there is so much opportunity, and having the collective environment, which is a safe environment where there is no such thing as competition, but real support. And the only agenda is let's work together and let's make a much bigger impact in the world, individually and collectively as well, which is what BWA stands for. So thank you for, consistently leading at the helm, and and for all of the things that are going to be possible. I can't wait to hear and feature so many of our wonderful premium members coming through, which we'll have upcoming on each of the podcast episodes as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So keep an eye out for the latest edition of the Buzz magazine too. That'll be coming. That'll be launched. We're hoping July for the new financial year, so late in July, but there'll be some great articles. I've just had a look at a few that have been coming through. They're so good.
I can't wait.
So good. So always love our annual Buzz. And
so was the timetable, because I think there's a deadline, isn't there, for members?
Yeah.
They would have already got emailed. If you're a member and you're thinking, what's this Buzz magazine? I think there's a short amount of time for you to get your article in.
That's right. So our premium level members are featured in the Buzz, and they're all busy getting their submissions in by this Friday. We've already had a couple that have asked for a little tiny extension. So I think our design team will be busy setting up what we've got to. So, anyone who's been on the fence about coming in as a premium level member, it's a couple of grand a year, but it's so much value. Features on our podcast, features in our articles, features in our program, collaborations with the team to really power your brand. It's just amazing. So we've probably only got space for a couple more premiums at the moment, but if that sounds like you, then please reach out. Lyn at businesswomenaustralia.com.au.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lyn.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Talk soon.
You've been listening to Business Women Australia podcast. Want to become part of a dynamic collective of women who are passionate about business success and personal growth? Go to businesswomenaustralia.com.au/membership to apply. That's businesswomenaustralia.com.au/membership.